All right, guys, welcome to the Prediction Strike UFC Roundup. I'm David, joined by Wells and Jackson. Normally we do a recap here. Grant, our numbers guy, he's going to be back, so we're going to recap that next week and see where we are standing. But we're going to quickly just jump into this weekend's UFC 291. We got a banger of a card. Let's go. Wells, you want to send us off? Or send us on?
Well, we've got a banger of a card going on here. It looks like it's going to be another fun event. We're not going to dive too much into the prelims, but we got two in the prelims that we find particularly interesting at this second in time. And that is, if I'm remembering correctly here, Jake Matthews against Darius Flowers, and also Derek Lewis versus, I'm going to say this wrong, I already know it, Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
Oh, you nailed it.
Let's go. All right. So we've got those two fights going on. So we're going to start off with the Jake Matthews fight against Darius Flowers. It looks to be pretty lopsided in terms of pricing and kind of consensus favoritism. If we look at it, Jake Matthews can get 99 cents per share. Darius Flowers, 65 cents per share. And how math kind of works on that is you're looking at a 10% increase with a 5% increase on top of that for Jake Matthews, giving you about 15%. And then if you want to take Darius Flowers as the underdog here, you can get 23% gains with a 28% cap off. But I'll let you guys kind of dive into exactly how this fight's going to go.
Okay, well, Jackson, I'm not sure what your feelings are on this one, but I still have a fond memory of Jake Matthews. I think he is definitely going to be able to get it done. He had a little bit of a hiccup against Simmelsberger, who was also on this card, I think. But I think he's still a really good fighter, super solid all around. And this guy, Darius, not like a crazy good fighter, out of the LFA. I think, still a lot of value on Jake Matthews, and I'll definitely be investing there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look too much into this particular prelim, but I would definitely waver on the Jake Matthews side if I had to lean one way. I'd probably stick with you on that. I think that's a great investment, and if you're going to try to invest in the prelims.
I mean, under $1, why not?
Yeah,
I feel like you have to follow that train. The only fights he has lost to as well are kind of rather large names, i.e., one of our partners, Sean Brady. But that's up for another day. Let's look a little bit ahead now. We briefed this. We got Derek Lewis with Marcos Rogerio de Lima, where we actually got kind of an interesting scenario. De Lima is kind of seen as the consensus favorite, but he's actually cheaper than Derek Lewis right now, sitting at $1.59 per share, meaning that if he wins, he goes up by 17% with a decision and 22% with an overall finish. Whereas the inverse is Derek Lewis at $1.85, sitting at 13% potential gain with 18% if he gets the finish. Walk me through how you guys see that fight going. I know Derek Lewis is a very fun fighter and an amazing personality in the UFC, but the prices are screaming a little bit odd for me.
Yeah, I think Derek still has some juice in the tank. They threw him up against another slobber knocker dude. He's not very technical. I don't know. I feel good about Derek. What about you, Jackson?
Yeah, no, I was totally going to say the same thing. I think especially for the value here with Derek sitting just at the slight underdog position and, just the power in the fight, it's kind of exactly what Derek Lewis wants, just blasting away, So I think I would put my money on Derek here.
Yeah.
All right, I guess
it's hit or miss either way. So yeah, what do you got, Wells?
I'm just going to go for the value. I like going for these value type of plays when it seems
you're a value boy.
I'm a big value guy. I like the EV.
Chalk it up.
I mean, we've definitely seen that in your portfolio. You've got the portfolio gains on us, Wells.
That's the only thing, though. That's about it. So I'm gonna rock with De Lima and see exactly how that goes. I guess I'm the antagonist on this one. Sad boy hours once again. But it is what it is. You guys got any more notes about that specific fight? Because it hurts me going against Derek Lewis because he's one of those fighters that I love just scrolling through and watching his post-fight press conferences because they're hilarious.
Yeah,
he's just a funny guy.
No, he's super funny.
So I want to say this is the only undefeated fighter that we have on this card in Gabriel Bonfim versus Trevin Giles here. And he's a massive consensus favorite, no matter where you're looking. On a prediction strike, he's almost double the price of Trevin Giles, meaning that you're looking at a 9% increase with a 14% gain, where he's coming in at $1.70 per share. But if you want to take your risk with Trevin Giles, you can get at $1.03 per share, with a 25% gain with a 30% finish. So there's a big kind of risk reward there, I guess you could say, in terms of how you want to manage your portfolio.
Interesting. What do you think, Jackson?
Yeah, on this one, I mean, I think it's going to be Bonfim all the way. I think he's going to stay undefeated and take Giles. I've seen some people taking Giles over Bonfim in this one. But I just think, he's a young talent, has a big future ahead of him in the UFC, and I think he's hungry and he's not going to lose today.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, I know what you meant. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel you on that. Undefeated, welterweight, already got a pretty big name. His brother's really dope as well. I think it's kind of, I don't want to say they're feeding him Trevin Giles because Trevin Giles is like a strong fighter. But I think you're right. It is set up for like him to become and grow into a bigger name for the company.
Yeah, and it's like I don't mean to discredit Giles at all, because I think, he's not a fighter where it's like he's going to be trapped fighting a certain way against anybody, because he has knockout wins, he has submission wins, so he's gonna be trouble probably for him. But I still got Bonfim.
Yeah, and $1.77 too, a stock price for a guy that I potentially could see as a future contender. Definitely top 10, top 5 relatively soon. I think $1.77 is a good price.
I think you're right on the money there too. Like, why else would they be putting him on the main card in his third realistic fight in the UFC? Albeit, like, the first one was with Dana White's Contender Series, but like they're giving him a pretty well vet. I think this is a big test, and he's this much of kind of a consensus favorite. I think you're 100% hitting it on the money, David, saying he's probably a future contender in some aspects, and that would be a really good time to buy in. Now, moving on to the next fight we got Kevin Holland here against Michael Chiesa. I'm a big fan of Kevin Holland just because he makes me think of like real life Batman. Like, he just gets anything done, dude. Like, you're near him and you're trying to do some whack stuff. He's like, nah, I got you. I can be drunk off sake in the middle of a bar and it's getting taken care of. So he's sitting here at about $2 per his share price, looking at a 16% to 21% gain for this kind of fight here. Whereas Michael Chiesa is a little bit more of an underdog, sitting at $2.10 with a 14 to 19% gain is what he's looking at here. Tell me what you guys are thinking.
I'll go first, but I wanted to hear what you guys had to say about this one before I made my selection, because I think it could go either way. Kevin Holland's so dangerous, and at the same time, Chiesa, he loves to bring things to the ground and has never been knocked out before. So, Chiesa's, it's been 2 years since he's fought last time. Holland is coming off. Is Holland coming off a win? I believe
I don't think so.
Oh no, he's coming off a loss.
He is.
Oh, he is.
He is, because he lost to Hamzat, and I think he had a rebound fight that he won. Actually,
he lost to Stephen Thompson, and then I don't know how to pronounce this, so I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, Ponzinibbio.
He knocked him out.
Yep, and that was a pretty good win. But I think I'm just going to lean, because I have a feeling you guys are going to lean towards Holland. I'm going to go Chiesa submission. I think he's going to find a way to negate the striking of Holland and get some good close quarters action going on him when he gets him to the mat. So I'll take Chiesa.
All right. Well, we have our first prediction strike head-to-head fight. I'm going to have to disagree. It is a tough one to call. I love both guys. Like, I follow Chiesa's. A lot of his desk work is really good. He's good at doing analysis. But I don't, because Kevin Holland is also so good at jiu-jitsu specifically, I don't know if Chiesa is going to be able to use that as much of an asset as he usually does. And Kevin Holland's hands are just too clean. I think he's gonna catch Chiesa with something and maybe get a submission on Kevin Holland's side.
I'm going at least with the value here on Kevin Holland. He wasn't scared to go against Hamzat, albeit he hasn't had the most significant fights as of recent that have been oh my god, he's going to be phenomenal. But I don't know. I'm a big value guy. I see the little bit of value there. I could easily end up being wrong on this one. My guts kind of tell me to go with Chiesa, but I'm riding with a real life Batman on this one.
Got to.
All right. Now, moving over to our next fight, we got Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson. Now, I am a big value guy, but this one I have a little bit of a hard time getting behind from a value sense because Bobby Green's a massive favorite here. But he's sitting at $1.50, looking at a potential 21% gain with 26% going on to the finish. And then Tony Ferguson is a massive underdog, which is kind of wild to me. But he's sitting at $2.07 on PredictionStrike, so he's a pretty big kind of favorite on PredictionStrike, where he's only looking at 11 to 16% gain. What are you guys thinking about on this fight?
I was surprised by this fight. Actually, I love this fight, and I like the value on Tony Ferguson. I don't think either of these guys are going to be in the sport for a super long time. So, I don't know how much I'm investing in either of them at this point. But, I do think Tony can get this done. He looked before he got his head kicked off with Michael Chandler. He was looking clean. He rocked Chandler pretty good. I think he's still a strong fighter, and he hung in there with Nate Diaz for several rounds. Looked pretty clean. So I think Tony Ferguson's definitely has a fighting chance here, and I'm going to lean Tony's side on this one.
Yeah, I think I don't think that's a bad pick at all, but I'm just going to go keep it short and simple with the same take that I'm sure you guys have heard about this fight a lot, is that, Tony's coming off his five fight losing streak. Green, he's also coming off a losing streak as well, but he's not really having he's not in the same stage of decline in his career that I would say Tony Ferguson is at. And this is going to be probably his last chance Tony Ferguson's last chance to, prove he's still relevant. So I think he's going to be hungry, but I think this is the last one for him personally. So I'm going with Bobby Green inside the distance.
Okay. I'm going to say Tony Ferguson by submission and then walks away from the sport.
I would love
we got
to
ourselves
see
a little rivalry going.
I want to go with Tony Ferguson. I really, really want to, because I see that fight losing streak, and I think in my brain I'm like, standard deviation makes me want to say he's going to get one. But at the same time, it's like, if Bobby Green's this much of a consensus favorite, and you can get that level of value on PredictionStrike, I've got to ride the value and go with Bobby Green as much as I want to ride with Tony Ferguson.
At least you're consistent.
Yeah, it's just a financial decision, not a gut decision on this one. And in reality, I have a feeling that I'm probably going to be losing 11 to 16% on this one, but I'll be going with the finances on Bobby Green here.
When you're talking about investing, always better to use your head rather than your heart.
Exactly.
That's investing 101.
All right, off to our next fight here. We have Stephen Thompson, speaking of what's gone in recency, with Kevin Holland at least, against Michael Pereira. We've got a massive value point here, in my opinion, with kind of what's consensus underdog. Before I kind of go in that, Stephen Thompson, $3.12, only looking at a 7% gain. So the lowest kind of decision gain that you can get on this card, with potentially 12% if he gets the finish. But Michael Pereira is a slight underdog considered what most people are thinking of him, but he's sitting at less than half the share price right now at $1.40, which is wild to me. He's 33% gains, a 38% gains. I think you guys can tell how I'm already leaning towards this based off of my decision making, how I go about these things. But let me know what you guys think from people who really know what they're talking about in this sport.
I definitely value on Michelle, but I just don't see how he beats Stephen Thompson. I mean, they put this fight together because they're both fun, goofy. Michelle does backflips in the cage. Wonder Boy is a karate kid. So it's going to be a fun fight to watch, but I think it'll mostly be in the stand-up realm. I don't see how he beats Wonder Boy. So if I were to invest, it'd be in Wonder Boy, but with his value kind of at $3 already, we've kind of already seen the ceiling on him. I don't know that I'm investing in this one, but I think Stephen Thompson wins. Probably a heavy favorited decision, one-sided.
Yeah, I would err on the side of you, David. I got Wonder Boy in this one. I think Michelle is perfectly, he's much older, Wonder Boy is. So that might be the only thing leaning against him. But, Michelle is in his wheelhouse in terms of the way they fight. He's all aggression, power. And I don't think this one's I think it'll go to decision. I think Wonder Boy's going to take it. But like Wells kind of hinted at earlier, it's just the value play isn't really as there as I would like it to be.
See, I actually think there, like, the more I look at this fight from just like a casual standpoint, the more I'm like, I really like this Michelle Pereira pick a lot, honestly. You can get 33 to 38%. I think it's going to hit 33 to 8%, honestly. And I remember every time I do watch UFC, it's always in the bottom corner with these kind of age discrepancies. If they're like 7 years older, or whatever it is, that they like the younger fighter wins like 67% of the time or something like that, which is absolutely wild to me. So to me, it's just like, I wouldn't say this is an absolute lock for me, but like, I'm in love with this Michelle Pereira play the more I look at it.
Is it 38% is if he wins, period, or is that by if he finishes inside the distance?
That's if he gets to finish inside the distance, but that's still 33% gains off of one fight, where it's basically considered a minor underdog in like a lot of other places. So for me, I think this is a smash buy, but that's just me. So for me, for my portfolio, this is a guy that I'm probably going to buy in heavy to, and then see exactly how it all works out.
All right, guys, make sure you download PredictionStrike. It's an investment app for sports and a great alternate to betting. You can invest in your favorite athletes without the all or nothing gamble, and you can watch your favorite athletes grow your bank account. Make sure you download PredictionStrike, where it pays to be a fan. Also, make sure you give us a subscribe, because we're talking investment tips. We're talking young fighters that aren't big names yet. To some of those fighters, those are going to be the ones that actually grow your bank account. So make sure you give us a like and a subscribe and keep tuning in.
All right. So now we're down to our last two fighters here. We've got some pretty big price discrepancies. You're telling me that Jan is the small favorite according to consensus, sitting at $5.70, which means you get a 9% gain off of a decision win with 14% if he gets the finish. But when we're talking about what's really a 50-50 fight from what we've seen from Alex Pereira, remember, he's essentially a rookie in the UFC. Like, that's what people I feel like are kind of undervaluing to some extent. And he's already a former champ, which is nuts to think about. Yep. And he's sitting at $3.29. And you telling me that via decision win, he can get 26% up to 31%?
What? What about inside the distance?
That's 31%. And I just...
That's 31. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's just insane to me. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of volume going into this, because I think maybe the sharper minds are thinking towards me, or I'm just a casual. But let me know what you guys think about this fight.
Man, the value definitely on Pereira here. I think that's a great choice. I could see people being a little hesitant with, Blachowicz has those heavy hands. Pereira to get knocked out by Izzy, who's not the biggest dude in the world. But I think at 205, Pereira's not dehydrated. I think he's even stronger, probably has a stronger chin. And this one's a no-brainer. Alex Pereira all the way.
Wow, yeah. So you think it's a no-brainer, Alex Pereira? I don't think it, in my opinion, like at least from what I've seen, I don't think it's a no-brainer at all. Value-wise, there's not much to be said in terms of Jan. He's so expensive on PredictionStrike, but he stifled Izzy when he tried to make the same transition into light heavyweight. He's has more experience. You could argue a little bit more well-rounded. I think the explosiveness of Pereira could land him a win at any point in the fight. But I think if Jan can stay cool and kind of stifle the explosiveness of Pereira, then he can take it the distance and come out with the win.
There's one thing we have to consider here. Alex Pereira, his main trainer is Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira whooped Jan's ass and knows exactly what all of his little habits are, his little knickknacks. I think Glover is going to deliver some of that knowledge to Alex. I think they're going to walk. And
that's definitely an important thing to take into consideration for sure. I'm sticking with my guns, though. I'm going Jan on this one.
All right, that's fair.
Trying to get a leg up on you, too.
Fair enough. I'm going with the value. You know me. I'm a big value guy. But I also I don't know what. I don't think this makes it out of the first round. Like, I understand, like, Jan is definitely of that caliber, but, like, Sean Strickland really underrated how much power is in that left hook. Like, everyone seems to, like, really underrate that for whatever reason. I feel like maybe it's a casual thing now, but, like, I just don't see how Alex Pereira doesn't get that set up and just send one home, so to speak. So I'm going with another value play there. I really like Alex Pereira in that first round. And who knows? We'll see how it works out. For all I know, Jan just turns the tables and gets the first round submission. And I'm sitting here like, all right, well, another casual take by me. But it is what it is.
That would be nuts.
Moving on to our last fight here, we have Dustin Poirier versus Dustin Gaethje. So we got a little bit of price discrepancy where we can get some value. You know me, I like my value buys. And so we can get Dustin Poirier at $4.43, going at a 17% gain off decision, 22 off of kind of a finish. Justin Gaethje, a small consensus underdog, but when you look at PredictionStrike, he's sitting at $5.11. So he's kind of our consensus theoretical favorite on PredictionStrike. Then you can get him at 13% for a decision win, up to 18% if he gets that finish. So you guys let me know what you guys think about this fight. You know probably where I'm going at this point because I seem to have a motif of how I go about these things.
Just a touch.
Just a touch.
I'm thinking Dustin on this one. Interested to hear Jackson's thoughts as well, but they've already fought in the past, 2018, not that long ago, but Dustin got the better of him. I'm sure Justin's going to be out for vengeance, but I just think Dustin is a little bit more well-rounded, and I like the value, so I'm going Dustin. Banger of fight, though.
Totally. This fight's going to be insane. And if you're on the PredictionStrike Discord, you'll see that yesterday I actually added Dustin Poirier to the community ETF that we have with a 30% end of month target. Pretty much for the exact same reasons that David has Poirier winning. He won in the last fight. Not much separates the two, but I think I'm going for value on this one. I think the price point is so much more attractive for Poirier. And I think a win right here against Gaethje sets him up for another big name fight. So I think that's a good buy right now. And I also see Dustin coming away with the win.
Yeah,
we finally agree.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% in agreement with you guys. You know how I am about my value. I just think we'll see how Justin Gaethje, but I also kind of went with two consensus underdogs in the previous two. So I think this is going to go more towards the favorite side of things. And I think this is one where you can really build your bankroll off of on PredictionStrike and really get your portfolio to skyrocket a little bit because there's a lot of value in this card. Just if you play it right, that's the real kind of thing here. But yeah, that's really all I have. I think that's all David and Jackson also has. Pun intended there, I guess.
Weird.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming in. This has been another fun session going through these fights. Sorry we didn't have Grant here, but he'll bring next time he's back here. I can't remember if it's this next week or the week after that. He'll be back with us and give us kind of a roundup on how our portfolios are looking and really how our records are. Who knows? Maybe I won't be a loser for once outside of the portfolio.
You're not a loser in my eyes, Wells.
Appreciate it.
Never.
All right. But until next time, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe, download the PredictionStrike app, and let us know what questions you guys have. Until then, peace.